welcome in all. Super excited to be making this tier rankings video for quarterbacks. That's why you clicked on the video. Before I jump in, I do just want to talk quickly about how I approach the quarterback position. I think it's very important just to state that and how I make these rankings. Number one, these rankings are created based on my personal evaluations. Additionally, it factors in the fact of where the market's at, right? I don't want to be so high on a quarterback if the market is like really low on them. So I basically adjust for that. My rankings are basically how I would draft these guys in order of a startup, how I would pick them. I'm going to be talking through why that is. I'm going to be talking through tiers. I have a specific tier where I think basically every team you own, every startup you do, you should be targeting that tier. And another tier where you should be fading a lot of those quarterbacks. And one of the reasons why that is, when we get to there, it'll make a lot more sense. The quarterback position, I would say I play quite differently from a lot of the popular creators in the industry. A lot of those guys will tell you, okay, maybe not right now, but they would have told you to go buy Drake May. They'll tell you to buy Caleb Williams, all these very exciting quarterbacks, Josh Allen, go tier up to them. I really have not believed in that in Superflex, especially these start 10, start 11 dynasties. Some of you guys might play in start 12. In start 9, okay, I would recommend these top end quarterbacks are more important. But in start 10, start 11, they're really not as important in Superflex. Like on a given week, Jared Goff can easily outscore Josh Allen or any other quarterback. So there's a little bit of a spoiler. Like I personally believe these Jared Goffs of the world are very, very crucial and very, very important to your Superflex Dynasty startups, your team builds, because they're just so damn cheap. They can provide similar upside to these top-end quarterbacks weekly, and you get so much more to work with on your lineup. The quarterback position, I think, is one that you want to play safer. Again, Jared Goff, I mentioned him. He never gets hurt. I think he missed maybe 1 game, 2 games in his rookie season. Hasn't missed anything since. There's some other quarterbacks in that tier that just feel extremely safe. Like, you know what you're getting. They still provide that elite, basically elite upside, that QB1 upside. Not QB1 overall, of course. And that just goes such a long way when you're building a team. You do not want to be eating zeros. I like, share it for me first. I had a couple Anthony Richardson shares. I was big on Anthony Richardson. Like, you do want to avoid those zeros when it comes at a cost. Now, when they are much cheaper, I'm obviously fine with chasing upside. So anyways, before I jump in, I do just want to mention, people are going to be wondering about rookies. I will include Fernando Mendoza, basically because we know where he's going to go in the draft. Ty Simpson, however, we don't know if he's a first-round quarterback yet. We don't know what team he's going to. I'm just going to completely avoid Ty Simpson in these rankings. Again, we can update those later. Just no need to try and rank them. I don't want to put anything inaccurate out there for anyone who's wondering. So yeah, I'll let you guys be the judge of where you would put Ty Simpson for now until we get to the NFL draft, of course. All right, so my S tier starts with 4 quarterbacks. I think maybe with other people's rankings, they would start with 2 quarterbacks here. To me, look, the age blends these two kind of where maybe tiers would go. We have Josh Allen at quarterback number 1, simply because he just keeps doing it. He basically is quarterback 1, number 2 in points per game every single season. He is getting up there. I would say that the 101 this year is about as weak as it's ever been since I've played Dynasty, because Josh Allen, Mahomes, these guys like that, they have been like 25, 26 in previous years. Okay, now he's 30 and he's still the 101. Yeah, it is a really weak year for the 101 and startup. So I would suggest, especially with the fact that I have these guys in the tier, you can get the next, my quarterback 3, quarterback 4, sometimes in the second round of Dynasty startups. So, I think that's a no-brainer in startups, is just don't pick Josh Allen, in my opinion, if you're trying to build an actually good team in startups. That's just, to me, a no-brainer. And the same would go for Drake May, my number 2 quarterback, who a lot of times is going 102, 103 in startups. Again, I was just on the clock face with him. I'll take just about anything to get down in the draft and not pick him. It's no hate to Drake May. There's quarterbacks down the board, however, that I would just simply rather have at the value. This is what, when I'm talking through guys I'm targeting and not. That is really what it's all about. It's about, value, not who's better than who, right? The cost is what really matters in Dynasty. Number 3, I have Jane Daniels. Again, this is basically just a tiebreaker over Lamar, my number 4 quarterback. Basically, yeah, because of age. Again, Lamar's getting up there. I think it'll be fine. If you prefer Lamar over Daniels, like I don't blame you. I would just rather have the guy that, maybe one of these guys suffer an injury, have a little bit of a down year. Again, we just saw kind of Daniels. Well, I actually saw that from both those guys, but I think Daniels would be able to hang on to his value, be able to bounce up easier than Lamar. Again, simply because of age. I don't feel I need to go into any detail on these S tier quarterbacks, any more detail at least. Like, we know why they're there. These guys have shown ability to score like elite quarterbacks. They're valued in the first round of startups. And by the way, quarterbacks have been majorly changing in the dynasty landscape for where they go with startups, how they're valued. They've been trending down big time. So I will say, I have not been a big elite quarterback kind of guy. Maybe like a hero. Like I get kind of one guy at the top and then some value down board. I kind of think that's a really good approach this year. Is get a guy in the top 3 rounds, because you can get a top 3, a top elite quarterback in the first even 3 rounds, mid third of your startups, and then you can just get a value down the board. It's just such a good year right now for drafting quarterbacks. I think it's very important to get quarterbacks correct this year. So in the second tier, we have Caleb Williams. I do think there is a bit of a drop off, by the way, between S tier and A tier. That's why they're in different tiers. But this one isn't too notable. I have Caleb Williams at quarterback 5. I have Jackson Dart at quarterback 6, which might come to a surprise to other people. Above Burrow, and above Hurts, above Mahomes. Again, just with what we see of these Drake Mays, these Caleb Williams, when they show anything, they skyrocket. I personally think Jackson Dart should be probably closer to the 1-2 turn than he is in the 2-3 turn right now. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to draft him there. That's why I think Jackson Dart, of all these quarterbacks and all this S and A tier, I think he's probably my favorite target. And you get this guy at up to 305, as late as that, 301. He's often going there, so I think he's a very, very awesome target. Again, this is a quarterback who, if you basically remove the weird Minnesota Vikings game where they had no interest winning on did they fire I think they fired their coach twice. I think they moved on from their interim coach for another guy. I mean, it was a disaster. And he was averaging over 24 points per game in his starts and 6-point passing touchdowns. So Jackson Dart is a very, very strong quarterback buy, in my opinion. That's why I have him ranked over Burrow, over Hurts, over Mahomes. Again, all of these guys I think are extremely draftable in startups, though, as your QB1. Again, I think people are going to have these really shuffled. That's just my personal take on them. Dart, Burrow, Hurts, Mahomes. I don't know if I need to go. We all know what these quarterbacks do. I don't really need to go into their whole points per game, their production profile. Again, if you want to rank Hurts over Burrow, that's fine by me. That's why they're in the same tier once again. Now, when we start getting down here, this is where I start to get more picky, where I want to go into a little more detail. My next quarterback, the B tier, actually just has 2 quarterbacks in it, and it is Brock Purdy and it is Justin Herbert. Brock Purdy, I actually have above Justin Herbert. Again, I don't think maybe in startups that's too crazy, but you will never see Brock Purdy go in the second round. You absolutely will see Justin Herbert sometimes go in the second round. To me, again, I'd much rather have Brock Purdy. He's basically just been a better version of Justin Herbert. The age to me on quarterback, their gap doesn't matter. Brock Purdy is younger, though. So, both are looking like decent quarterbacks. I've been pretty off Justin Herbert the past few seasons. However, I would say this is probably the year I'd be more interested in him than not, with Mike McDaniel coming in. Nice offensive change. So, I think these, again, 2 solid quarterbacks. If you ever see Brock Purdy in round 4, I think he's a smash. Can't let him fall behind you. And we have another small tier here for the C tier. It is Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love. I think all these guys are pretty close. Again, maybe someone would put Lawrence above Nix. I think that would probably be consensus. And I see it off coaching, but what I will say is Bo Nix has been quarterback 7 back-to-back years. He's shown an extremely high weekly ceiling in those seasons. I really, really like that. He is not afraid to run. Again, Trevor Lawrence has all these same abilities. They're probably the same age, honestly. But yeah, they're in the same tier. To me, I actually have Nix slightly ahead to prove like you should be targeting this guy a little bit more. Just because he's so much cheaper than Lawrence, it feels like right now in startups. If you were to be buying, Lawrence is, I mean, he's scratching the 101 value. Again, somewhere in between that 101 to 102 is where people are going to want from him. I would not suggest buying Trevor Lawrence or even just like drafting him. Again, I have to have him ranked here, but not a guy I'd be targeting. Not much to say about Jordan Love here at the back of the tier. He just has to be here. I think he's a fine quarterback target. His age is going to be what keeps him in this tier, in this B tier versus the C tier. But as I just mentioned, the C tier is going to be my favorite tier for targeting quarterbacks this year, and honestly in previous years. These have been some of my favorite quarterbacks. Like last year, I had a ton of these guys. I think they're pretty awesome. So let's just jump into that now. This is probably, again, the most important tier here for this whole entire video.
The D tier
consists of
Mendoza,
Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Baker, and Kyler Murray. Very difficult for me to value between like Goff and Dak especially. The reason I have Goff ahead, he's missed about 2 career games, whereas Dak Prescott has missed a lot of games. To me, that's enough of a tiebreaker, though I completely understand. I think Dak Prescott actually has, in a given season, slightly higher upside. That's what we've seen from him in production. And don't worry, guys, I will not forget to talk about Mendoza here. Look, I think he's probably going to be one of the more controversial guys in these rankings. But to be completely honest, I really stand by my ranking of him here. I will have him ahead of these veteran types who I love, simply because of the upside of what might happen. Though first production, again, we might not even see him. I mean, we might not even see him all season, but probably more like half the season or something, right, with Kirk Cousins there. I'm going to assume they're not going to be winning, but you just never know what Kirk Chains might have up his sleeve. But guys, this is a pocket passing quarterback. I know he does have more mobility than people might give him credit, but he is not going to be bringing elite scrambling abilities like these Jaden Daniels rookies types. Those are the kind of guys I'd be drafting at 102. Mendoza is, more of this mid-first kind of value guy. That's where I have these quarterbacks in this tier valued, is in that mid-first range. And so, I really don't care to draft him at 102. Spoiler for rookie draft rankings, I think 102 is actually grossly mispriced. And if you think that the receiver shouldn't go there, I won't get into it too much, but you should just trade out of the pick or trade back, because I mean, you just look at the rankings here. Pocket passing quarterbacks like Mendoza, who are valued as the 102 or more. I mean, we basically can confidently say there's like Herbert, maybe Purdy in some people's rankings, Mahomes and Joe Burrow. I mean, really everyone else is just kind of like a scrambling archetype. So if you're just looking at that, I don't know why you wouldn't just trade the 102 into like some other quarterback. Go a different route than 102 Mendoza, and that's why I have him ranked here. I want to be very realistic about these quarterbacks. There is, of course, some upside. We got to stop, though, if we're comparing him to Joe Burrow just because of the Heisman winning national championship. Baker Mayfield, again, in this tier, slightly lower than those guys. He's losing Mike Evans. We saw the shoulder injury stuff. I'm not really worried about him. I think he's an awesome quarterback target this season. And then I have Kyler Murray in here, who to some people I think might be a bit of a surprise. Spoiler alert, Kyler Murray I'll probably be talking about a lot this offseason. I think he's the strongest quarterback buy in all of Dynasty right now. I don't know if I should lay my case all here. I don't want to get ranting too much. But basically, Kyler Murray, he's a 20-point per game quarterback every season of his career. Last season, he did have 18.6. He had a 5-game sample. If he threw one more touchdown, he shows obviously he's in that 20 points per game conversation once again. He's in the best situation of his career. So yeah, for Kyler Murray, I mean, he just tanked in value basically from last season. This is a guy that has been living in like the second, third round of startups all the past seasons. Get we know like he is not the Cardinals quarterback, not because of his on the field play. Again, he's a fine average quarterback, but for fantasy, he can certainly return above average with that rushing ability in this offense. I mean, I don't think it's going to be bold at all if he's outscoring a lot of the names that I currently have ranked ahead of him in here. I mean, he could easily outscore guys like Justin Herbert, Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence, again, Jordan Love, even some guys up in the top. Like, can he outscore Drake May? I think that's in the range of outcomes, given the offense, given he has the rushing. So, yeah, Kyler Murray. He's going about the 7th round of startups right now. He was going later than that. Even in the 7th, I think he's such a strong buy. I mean, what an awesome quarterback, too, he could be for a team. What a value. These are, I think, how you win leagues is when you get an awesome value like Kyler Murray here. So, 100% recommend you buy him. And I 100% recommend that you have one of these quarterbacks on your teams when you come out of a startup or when you are just having a team and you're looking to make a trade at the quarterback position. Cannot say enough good things about these quarterbacks. Let's move on to the D tier now. I will say this is the tier that I really want to avoid here because these guys are still just barely valued below the C tier guys, but the C tier guys I trust so much more. Year in and out, like you plug these guys in, have awesome returns. Whereas these D tier guys, there's a lot of like upside associated with them because it's maybe their age, what they were at one point. But it's not. It's nothing to do with the points they're scoring right now. A lot of these guys can lose their job, or again just return really bad fantasy numbers. Is how I would project them. So like, yeah, I would not recommend having a lot of these quarterbacks in your portfolio if you're playing in a lot of leagues in D tier. And I would recommend taking these D tier guys and tearing them up into those C tier guys. Even if it's like a slight overpay, this is something where like maybe the trade calculators can help you out. If you can add a second to these guys and just get to a C tier player, like I am perfectly fine with that. Again, a whole playing it safe thing. I want a guy that I trust. I don't want to be playing, the QB carousel in season and having to be buying Jacoby Brissett and Kirk Cousins because I can't trust one of these D tier guys. So to start it off, basically we have Cam Ward. Again, doesn't feel great to me. I don't have that much confidence in Cam Ward for fantasy right now. That says a lot about this tier. Following, we have C.J. Stroud. That might come to a surprise to a lot of people. C.J. Stroud has been as bad. As really any quarterback in fantasy since his rookie season. So, yeah, I mean, he scored 13 points per game in 2024. Not much better in 2025. The weapons have been there, so I don't understand what's going on with CJ Stroud. Some people might argue he's a buy low. Me personally, I think he's finally priced where he is right now in the 7th, 8th round of startups. Again, I'm not even targeting him there, so just not very exciting for me. Sam Darnold after, Daniel Jones, Malik Willis, Tyler Shuck. Some people might be surprised to have Tyler Shuck this low. Tyler Shuck is, like, seriously, in my opinion, a couple bad games away from being in the conversation of, being replaced in 2026 or 2027 NFL draft. I know how good his, rookie campaign was at the end of the season. But, guys, he was not even a first-round pick. He's like a 27-year-old, year 2 quarterback. This is just not the profile I care to bet on right now because the way that he's ranked out in startups, again, he's barely going above these behind these C-tier players. I would rather just add to Tyler Shuck and just get to one of those quarterbacks and not be worried about the possibility he loses his job. If he does keep his job, well, guess what? Now he's just a slightly younger version of the Jared Goff, the Baker Mayfield archetypes. And can you guarantee me that even if he does keep his job, he's scoring as many fantasy points as them? I don't think you can guarantee me that at all. So, yeah, I'm just not too excited about him. Malik Willis does provide a ton of rushing upside. The reason I have him ranked above Shuck is if both these guys keep their job, Malik Willis is absolutely the one I want. Though I do think Shuck has he has a higher probability of keeping his job. So again, if you want to have Shuck over Willis, then that's fine. But there is certainly a ceiling with Malik Willis that is not there with any other quarterback in this tier. Daniel Jones would actually easily be in the C tier, if not higher for me, if he did not tear his Achilles. This is the one quarterback I would say I'm probably targeting in this tier. Just because you get him in the 8th round or later in startups, he's pretty easy guy to trade for. And again, the only question is, hey, can he bounce back from this Achilles? I do think there could be some opportunities to buy him cheaper in season. So if you don't want to buy him right now, I think that is fine. But I do think it would be a little bit of a mistake to be completely overlooking Daniel Jones, as a quarterback asset, especially if you're in a pinch at QB2, you can't afford or can't buy the C tier guys. I would probably recommend Daniel Jones personally as a guy I'm willing to go out on a limb for, and maybe again you package him with like a Kirk Cousins, some random quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. Maybe there can be some crossover. You can start one to begin the season, and hopefully Daniel Jones gets healthier as the season goes on. Now in the E tier, we just have Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young. Maybe people are wondering where Matthew Stafford is. You could argue he should be in that D tier simply off of his production, how great he was last season. I do want to remind people that you could maybe get a second for him last year in Superflex, maybe. I mean, there was the whole back issues. He's getting up there in age. I still think he's a fine target. Again, as long as he's valued in this E tier. Dan, our co-host here, just got him in the 10th round of our listener league startup. Perfectly fine value, I think, in that range. But if you're drafting them or valuing higher than these guys, like Daniel Jones, I just can't get behind that personally. Could be retiring. And again, just could be back to 2024, 2023 Stafford, which is 17 points per game, 16. Not very exciting. So don't want to be too high on Stafford with you guys. And then Bryce Young, he's kind of just like cheaper CJ Stroud is what it feels like right now. Two quarterbacks I don't want. Really don't want anything to do with Bryce Young. But if you do want to buy Bryce Young, it's simply because he's a very, very cheap quarterback that could keep a job, that could raise up in value, I suppose. So I definitely understand a potential argument playing the market on Bryce Young if you believe. That concludes our E tier, very small. F tier, this is our final tier. My F tier is Michael Penix, Tua right behind him, Mac Jones, JJ McCarthy, Kirk Cousins, and insert your Jacoby Brissett's, Geno Smith, quarterbacks here, the other kind of guys that are starting. I'll throw them in the tier just to include them in the video of kind of how I'd rank them. But Mac Jones, I have to have him over McCarthy, honestly, at this point, just because I feel more confident that Mac Jones is a starter next year over McCarthy. Again, we all know Mac Jones could kind of be this next Daniel Jones type. And Penix and Tua, I think you could argue Tua is a better buy if he actually is cheaper to acquire than Penix. Feels like they might be around the same price right now. I would rather have Penix if that's the case because he's younger. I also wouldn't really say we saw Michael Penix fail. I mean, tore his ACL. I know there was some up and down, but he's barely even played maybe 10, 12 games in his career. So, I definitely don't want to write Michael Penix off. That's why he's the top of this F tier. I actually think he could be a pretty strong. Actually, I think him and Tua can be very strong buys for teams again that need that quarterback too. I wouldn't mind having these guys in the same roster. There's always a chance they could split up and both be starters in the future. So I do think these guys are actually decent targets right now in Dynasty. I know it is gross. You got to be willing to get a little gross, right? I mean, if you were, scoffing at someone to tell you to buy Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold in the past, that did not age well, right? So you got to be interested in quarterbacks that feel disgusting. Like Shedeur, someone people might be wondering why he's not on here. Yeah, Deshaun Watson is the favored quarterback. You could argue Deshaun Watson should probably make this tier list. I'm not even gonna put him there simply because of just like how gross that is. If you get it for free, you should, by the way. But yeah, Shedeur, I've just not believed in him at all. I know there's a lot of people have been passionate about him. I've even been testing a league that I just happen to own him in. I can't get anything for him. So yeah, I'm not even gonna include him on this list. I think Shedeur is basically useless in Dynasty for value. If you can get something for him, go sell him right now. Yeah, so that basically concludes the video, guys. If you have any questions about quarterbacks, maybe for your team, leave them in the comment. I'll definitely reply and tell you or answer your question, tell you what I think. But if you disagree with anything, maybe you have a question why I have something ranked I didn't address, go ahead, yeah, leave a comment there as well. I could definitely get into more detail. I just don't want this video to be like 2 hours long, which it absolutely would be. We're already running close to 30 minutes. So yeah, if you guys want to get in contact and join our community, our Discord is in the description of this video. Go ahead and join that. You can actually sign up there for the Listener League 3.0, which we started the list for. And if you want more content, you enjoyed this video, yeah, drop a like, leave a subscription. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.